the most famous goal of Chris Billy's life.
Is this the moment for Lee Fowler? It is. Take your place in Division 2, Huddersfield Town.
Ruby and Steve Simonson's boots now. He's missed. Steve Simonson clears the frame of the goal and collapses in a heap of tears. Huddersfield Town are promoted.
Skipper Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance!
Hello everyone and welcome to a very special Centenary episode of the Town Social. We've had lows and even more lows, but we're still here and the lads are gathered around Killer's round table in his garage to dissect what's been a, interesting game this afternoon. The game was about as annoying and frustrating as a new Pepto-Bismol advert. And talking of pink, not so pretty in pink, Owen not so good man with another howler for the second goal. Ultimately, a point gained or two dropped. Well, we're going to be discussing all. We've also got a new sporting director in the building, which we're going to be discussing also. Get your comments in, guys, and join in the convo. My name's Nick Barlow. I'll be presenting this very special episode tonight. And with me, as always, is Mr. Gaz K, Andy K, and Mr. Ian Kilroy. How are you doing, lads?
Yeah, I'm all right, thank you. Thanks for asking.
Feeling left out, actually. I'm not a K. I feel like I need to become a K. Maybe that's the only way we can get this into a trifecta.
Do you want me to adopt you?
Yeah, go on then. How much money you got, Gaz?
Enough, kid. Don't you worry about that.
Yes, please.
Thank you, guys, for comments already. It's really good to see you. I'm going to be leaning over to see these comments, and we're going to be highlighting them. So yeah, get your comments and your questions in. But it's good to see you, Ben England. Good to see you, mate. I was sat next to you. We were suffering together, so it's good to see you're open to more punishment this evening. So, guys, let's get straight down to it then. We've had a few games since we were last on. The Mansfield game, we're all a bit miserable, weren't we, before? And it's Huddersfield Town, isn't it? Like they build it up, you get a couple of results, you think, right, we've turned a corner, we're going to kick on now. We've got 2 games against Luton and Wimbledon. If we can get, maybe 4 points out of them, we've got a chance to break into that top 2 maybe as well, depending on goal difference. And then we go into Luton and, I don't know who wants to take it off first.
Do we have to talk about
Nobody does.
We've got it, lads. Come on, we've got to discuss Luton first. I think frustration is the main word of it. The first goal for Luton, it's a deflection, but the ball's crossed in. Ben Wiles, it's a poor header, essentially. And yeah, it's a bit of luck. But I just thought that first half, we just didn't, it just didn't really click. And I thought Luton, unfortunately, they deserved to take the lead, didn't they? It was a struggle.
No surprise, though. No Bolker. That's the issue. We've before this game and before Luton, we found a little bit of form. And I think it's pretty clear to see for everybody that it was a mixture of 2 players coming in, Harness dropping into defensive central midfield, and Bolker playing at centre-back that made the biggest difference, driving the ball out. We looked at a totally different team. Obviously, we've rested him, as it turns out. Tristan from our lot obviously suggested he was actually injured, and no, he wasn't. He was obviously rested, and you kind of understood it. I disagreed with it at the time, and I disagree with it now still, in that Bolker, I don't think you can keep fit no matter what. So when he is available, you play him. As somebody said, he could get injured going to Aldi, and he could. At any point, it could happen. So to rest him seems a strange shout. But from there, that performance on Tuesday was predictable. I don't think any of us watched it and considered it to be surprisingly poor. I think when you look at what we've done well over the last few weeks, that from Bolker out the back was the biggest positive and the biggest game changer. It meant the compact midfield, the strikers suddenly looked really good. Bolker not playing made everything very, very different. And from there on out, it was a bit of a copy and paste kind of game from prior to going to this 4-4-2, what we used to do when we were 4-2-3-1, passing to the fullbacks, passing to the wide guys, getting pushed outside and trying to play football from out there. And realistically, I thought the scoreline was quite flattering towards us. And it obviously took a while for Luton to get ahead and what they deserved. But I thought we were fortunate enough to be in the game at half-time. I thought the Mansfield first 20 minutes was as good as the Luton first 20 minutes was bad. I thought it was that shocking. So we definitely deserve nothing out of it whatsoever.
Yeah, and I think you called it right, mate. Because as soon as I saw that Lowe was in for Bolka, I'm thinking this game's over. And I think I posted on our WhatsApp, didn't I, that we're going to lose this game. Gaz was having a go at me for being ultra negative, and as
nothing new there though, kid. Is there?
Nothing new there, mate. But I'm rarely wrong, unfortunately. Unfortunately, yeah. So yeah, it was always going to be a bit of and you expected a response from Luton because they've been battered by Barnsley. You knew it was going to be tough on a Tuesday night, but I just thought we let ourselves down a little bit. Now, Andy, does the blame come on Grant here? Because I saw a lot of people blaming Lee Grant for that team selection, or is it a case of look, we just simply don't have the players available? Like Ian said, Bolka is an accident waiting to happen, really, with regards injuries, and he ain't the only player in the squad that's like that, is he?
No, he's not. But the other thing for me is that I don't think that's all on, like we said in our internal WhatsApp group. I don't think it's all on Grant. He's not the one that's missing clear red cards. He's not the one that's missing. He's not the one that's deflecting shots, etc. So you're always gonna, if you make the decision as you obviously did to rotate Bolka, then you're gonna bring my lad in. They're getting a bit of unfair grief. I think he's not as bad as everybody makes out. Not quite as bad anyway. And I'm not so sure about how much of a difference he actually makes, because I haven't seen much different today from what they did on Tuesday night. You can tell me differently, because in South Stand it's difficult to work out exactly what's going on. But I think there's a lot more to the performance. I think we just got bullied on Tuesday night. They were a more physical side. They looked. You keep seeing the two benches next to each other, and there's Chris Powell up being an absolute, well, insert your own word there for whatever word you want to use for Chris Powell. There's Wilshere walking around with like that look of, do you know who I used to be about? They just look like a really difficult team to play against because of what's going on the touchline. And there's our lad sat there, nice and meek and mild, and there's Grant sat there going, oh, no, I think I might need to change something. I'm getting a little bit fed up with him. I think we need to get a little bit more animation and passion from him, and particularly today, I didn't see much of that, and certainly on Tuesday night.
From Grant, you mean? Yeah. You want to see more from Grant?
I want to see more from him.
To be fair to him, every time we've played anybody big, we've been awful. We've not beaten one good team yet, I think, this season. When I say good, I don't mean good because obviously Stevenage were top of the league going into today, and we beat them at home. But when you're looking at teams that on paper are strong, your Boltons and whatnot, every time we've come up against somebody like that, like Luton, we're not at it, are we? We very much look like we're struggling against those kind of teams. And I think the lack of motivation from the sideline, though, that we kind of see as fans, is an issue. I think it's absolutely an issue.
I think the bigger issue for me against Luton was that he'd found a way accidentally to pick a team that played in a way that made it difficult for opposition, and we scored goals. And he consciously chose to change that team against a team we should be, in theory, competing for top two. He took an actual decision to take Bolka right out of the firing line and bring Lowe back in. That's the bit that I struggle with, really. And I think that's the problem with, and I'm generalising, but that's the problem with these young coaches. They all think the Pep Guardiola, they all think that this is the way to manage, but they do, don't they? They all
still sound like an old man.
But it's true. Well, I am an old man, as Nick pointed out on his video this week. But that's my frustration. And then with you, people say, oh, well, Bolka might get injured. Well, but he could get easily as injured in the next game or the game after. And he was really was crying out for us to try and get hold of the ball because Luton are direct. We know how they're going to play. They're going to put it down the sides. They're going to put crosses in. They're going to go front to back. And he was crying out really for somebody to be able to get hold of the ball and use it. And Bolka is the only man I know we'll come and talk about today. And he wasn't as effective today as he had been in the two previous. But I think you have to give Wimbledon a bit of credit for that today. They did enough to try and make that difficult. But that was my frustration, really. And obviously I didn't watch the game. I was out having a posh meal, so I didn't see the game. But I've seen the goal and seen the highlights. And they worked so hard to get themselves back into the game, which seems to be another theme under Grant, that we have to score worldies to get a goal. Yet we don't really make opposition work too hard. That second goal at Luton is absolutely criminal. I've witted about this before, but if you make a mistake, you make a mistake. But what you shouldn't do is then let there be a second mistake. And there was a third mistake and a fourth mistake before they stuck it in the back of the net. And from what I understand, after that, Town pretty much gave up.
The thing with Luton, I felt like Luton came at us, got one up, and then sat back and turned it off a bit. I think they knew they'd had the game won. And now, just as we've got 7 games in 22 days, or that was what we would have had. Obviously, we've played a couple of them now. Luton still have quite a lot of games as well. And I honestly feel like you're into this part of the season where people are preserving minutes and players. Luton, I think, would have battered us if they'd have gone at us all game. It was like men against boys. They were big lads, and we really still struggle with that. Joe Lord says he's a big boy. He's not very physical, is he? He's quite a strange player in that I think when he comes in, sorry, Andy, I know you sponsor him, so I should be a little bit more delicate here. But he's such a big guy. You expect him to throw his weight around, win all the headers, do all this kind of stuff. And okay, he's going to be limited on the floor. But that aside, you can make up for that elsewhere with somebody else with him who's a bit more of a brainier centre-back, a Jack Watmore kind of thing. But Jolo doesn't, at the moment, even do those things right. And Luton played on all those issues. They knew we couldn't play out from the back, and the design was to do that. At 1-0, we suddenly looked okay. And then Castledine scores on paper. Well, for me, they're having this argument with Matt. He suggested Tony Carr's against Middlesbrough, I think, in 2003, maybe. I think that
best goal Town have ever scored.
You reckon?
Tony
Yeah,
Carr.
This for me is also up there. It was a phenomenal finish, and he meant every bit of it going to that side, which is rare because when the keeper's at that side, and Keeley, who was in goal, he's a good keeper. He was good last year as well in this division, but it was just that moment we dragged ourselves back into it, and like you say, for me, Nick, I think Luton just upped it again, and we couldn't really live with it. As soon as they wanted to play against us, we struggled, and I think that is a common theme, especially against the bigger teams. But at all points this season, teams rest against us, and we do okay. But then as soon as they turn it back on, we then struggle to react. It's very rare that we score straight after another team, but a lot of other teams score straight after us after we've kind of pulled one back and whatnot. And that's something we have to sort out now, because you can't have a good season if that's how you concede goals.
Where does that come from then, that mentality? Because you're right, it was 7 minutes, was it, between us scoring that free kick and conceding that shambles? That has to be on the players, surely, and the leaders on the pitch, leaders.
I'd say, yeah, Nick, I'd say yes, and I'd agree with you, but then it happens every so often in the first half, right? So if a game's 0-0, so many times you watch Grant's Towns, at the beginning of this season especially, guys and I were talking about it today, where you're pretty sure Town are just feeling the way into it. We used to start really slow. I think there is an instruction from the side at times to just take a breather and readjust and calm down and then go again later on. And in these moments, we never look very good, or at worst, we concede. And I feel that's what happens. We kind of artificially make these flat points in performances that really cost us at times. And I think that is somewhat by design and something that's a bit of a worry for me.
Yeah, guy pointing out it was Tony Carr's, Roberto Carr's loss against Torquay. It is by far the best goal I've seen from Town, and probably ever will. So, yeah, nice to hark back to that. But I'm sorry, I've got to touch on that second goal again for Luton. It was so shite that the Luton players out there celebrated. They're almost like, oh, yeah, that was bad, wasn't it? Just walk back to halfway line. I've never seen out like it. Honestly, there must have been 4 or 5 mistakes in the build-up to that goal. And we're going to talk about Owen Goodman. I've seen a few comments, guys, that I'll read out about Owen Goodman, obviously from today as well. And he does make a mistake in there again with his distribution. But there's so many other players culpable. And Joe Lowe, I know, Andy, I'm sorry, mate, what I said, but I think
you're on trial, Andy.
I think we can.
I feel like I am a little bit.
Like, I just, his positioning is woeful. His distribution is terrible. He's got some good attributes this league. You know, he's big, he's tall, he's fit, but I just don't think that he is the right sort of player for how we want to play. And if we're not looking for a ball-playing centre-back in January, I think something's wrong. But, yeah, I mean, that we cannot concede goals like that and expect to go anywhere this season. We just cannot do it. I mean, that was absolutely criminal.
You're taking it, Andy. You're gonna explain?
I don't know what there's to explain. I mean, he's messed up, hasn't he? And he should be. I remember him playing for Wickham against us, and when we played down there last season, Jolo wasn't playing, and we were delighted about the fact that Jolo wasn't playing because he was such a big part of their team. So what's happened between him? So he dropped out of favour there, didn't he, Wickham, and then he's come to us. How has his game changed? Was it just his aerial threat that we thought, from set pieces and dead balls and stuff, that he was going to be such a threat? But we rated him as a player last season, and he's a shadow of the guy that we thought we'd signed. We thought we'd signed a team of the season, 6 foot odd, great attitude. Having spoken to him very briefly, he seems like a really top guy, but it's just not working for him. We listened to, I'm sort of jumping forward a little bit, but listen to Alfie May's interview on Radio Leeds on the way over here, and my word, what an attitude that guy's got. Absolutely fantastic in terms of taking it on himself and saying he's not been good enough, and he's as a senior player he needs to do better. I want to hear more Town players saying stuff like that and actually owning the fact that they're wearing the badge of our great club, and it's just not working. And we've spent a lot of money on these guys and they're just not performing. Now, whether that's down to the way that Grant's setting him up and the leadership that he's showing, is he saying too much or not enough? But on the pitch today, it was a shambles. Absolute shambles. Just to score 3 at home and then only walk away with a point. And every time Wimbledon came forward in the last sort of 10 or 15 minutes, I just said to my missus next to me, 4-3. Because you just felt that they looked so dangerous, and yet we didn't. Why? What's missing? I mean, I remember a couple of years ago having a conversation with Killer about the level of intensity and being just off it. And I think we are at just that level of just off it mentally. And we said we'd signed leaders, we said we'd signed characters and all that type of stuff. Where?
The thing with Lowe for me, I don't know whether he lacks confidence. He clearly lacks a bit of pace. And I think that's
all good centre halves
him.
aren't quick, mate. Yeah,
you certainly weren't. So whether it's a lack of confidence or whether Grant has seen that in him and told him that, look, don't get yourself into a foot race, give yourself chance, give yourself space. But I've complained about him before. He just backs off and backs off and backs off, which then creates problems for everybody else in the team. And, in fairness, that second goal, and I've only seen the highlights. He was no more culpable than anybody else. There was 3 or 4 other people who were just as culpable as Joe Lowe, but I guess he sets the tone for the back four. When Bolker gets the ball, he goes forward. When Lowe gets the ball, he goes sideways. That's the difference for me, I think, with him. And he's a young guy. You've got to remember as well, he's quite a young lad still, isn't he? So
I think that got me about the second goal was what we've seen today from Goodman as well. And we have to get on to that in a little bit, I understand. But he has a tendency to push it out instead of trying to catch the ball. And now I am not that guy. A lot of people of Gaz's type are like, don't punch it, catch it, right? In the air.
Right.
Yeah. Well, if it's in the air from a cross, I'm fine with it. As long as you get it out there, it's absolutely fine. As long as you don't make a mess of it, right? But when he dives to the floor, his first thought is always punch it away. It's never, ever catch it. And now in 2 games, this has come back to bite him on the arse. I was surprised having what we saw at Luton with that one where he's pushed it straight back out. And was it, I can't remember who scores. Is it Yates that scores?
Yeah.
Yates.
Yeah.
For him to push it straight back out to him, it was just poor goalkeeping, and it's definitely a worry because that's a pattern that we'll talk about in a bit. But no, it was just Luton were better than us. They were much better than us. I don't think that was a game where any of us look back afterwards and think, "Oh, we were unlucky there," or if we'd have just changed a little thing, would have been at the end of a better result. We were so far off it in all departments. It's one of those I think you just chalk it. Can you do it away at Luton on Tuesday night? No, we can't. Not at the moment, and that's fine. That doesn't define the season because luckily enough, we got a decent win at Mansfield on the Saturday prior to that. And I think if most of us would have been questioned how many points would you target, I think 3 would have probably been acceptable. Win one of them, lose one of them, that's absolutely fine. Okay, the manner in Luton's worrying in a different way. But I think it was more job done over those 2 games rather than it being at the end of the world. Because very rarely do Town lose at the moment, and it's not end of the world when it comes to Town fans. But after Luton, it was not too bad, I didn't feel. I thought the atmosphere stayed okay. I mean, looking at Twitter today, it's a little bit different, isn't it? But after Tuesday night, it wasn't that bad.
How are you guys feeling about it, listeners? I just can't help feeling that it's another scenario where we had a chance to get into that top 2-3 position and we've shattered. And when there's something on it, when there's something riding on the game and the pressure's on, when it's a big game, we do not show up. We don't. And that is why, in my opinion, we're way off the top 2 side, because the top 2 side gets a point there, minimum. You grind a point out. We got ourselves back in it, and we just gift them a simple goal by just awful defending, and you just cannot do that. You need to go on a sustained run of results, and we're just not there yet, are we?
No, we're not. Good, like you say, though, it's not even big teams. We went to Blackpool earlier on in the season, and there was a massive following. We expected a good performance, and we shat the bed against 10 men. And that's kicked off, didn't it? You can't play against 10 men. It's harder to play against 10 men, apart from when Alfie May gets sent off. Then it's easier to play against 10 men when we're the team with 10 men every time. But this is it with Town, and we've got to get over that really quickly, because you cannot have a good season where you collapse every time you play a team on paper that are as big as we are, or a team on paper that we're bringing 3, 4, 5,000 like Barnsley away as well, where you've got so many of us going, and then not managing to pull out anything positive, because they're not even just poor, are they? They're awful. When we've had these moments.
And Grant doesn't seem to be able to change it in game either. I think that's a lot of people's concern is about his inability to change it in game. Now, the counter argument to that, I would say, is 2 of the substitutes scored today. So he ain't always getting it wrong, is he? But whenever he's come up against anybody who you would rate as a coach, he's been found wanting massively in game, both, in terms of formation, the way we've played and the way we've countered. I mean, the obvious one is Stockport. You look at how Stockport played at our players. They were a better team with 10 men than we were with 11. And that's because of how Challoner immediately changed it, immediately changed the shape, changed the personnel to suit the way they were playing, and it was a big difference. So, I've seen 1 or 2 Grant outposts this afternoon as well. Not sure we're quite there yet, but he really needs to start applying this learning he's telling us that he's having.
Yeah, this comment here about it's because they've been put under this pressure that we have to go up this season, similar to last season. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if there is that. If there is that pressure, you don't really know what's been said behind the scenes. I think the fan that with the amount of money we've spent, there is a certain expectation there, isn't there? I mean, I remember in the dark days when we were mid-table League One and we could only sign Malvin Kamara, and we were mid-table in League One, and now we've spent millions and we're mid-table in League One. So there is, do you know what I mean? There is more when you spend more. There is more expectation, but these are top end. Some of these are top end play. You've got to take that. You've got to take that and use it as an incentive, right? We deserve to be up there. We're going to show people that we deserve to be up there. When we put on that shirt, we're giving 100%, and we are good enough to get these results as a collective. But I just think it's this kind of culture at town where and it's been like this for years, where we've just crumbled under any kind of pressure, and it doesn't seem to matter what players we get or what manager we have. It's the same scenario where we're all right picking up these odd results at your Mansfields and up, but when it matters, when you need a result to move into the playoffs or the top 2, when it's really riding on it, we never show up, and that's what gets the fans down. It's annoying.
To us ever, thus though, we've been like that. I can remember back in the sort of the mid to late 80s, a particular game against Wolves for some reason. I remember there being a decent crowd turn up, and if we got a result, something good was going to happen. We've been doing this for 40 odd years. I don't know whether that's got to do with the culture of the club or whether that's just part of the town DNA. But every time we have that expectation of, if we put in a great performance here and we'll attack the top 2, we might get into top 2, whatever. We don't seem able to get that over the line.
The difference now is the coach has been given everything he's asked for and more. The investment's been mega. Town fans are expecting us to get promoted. Ask any fan from any of the League One club, they had us in the top 2. If they didn't, I'd be really surprised. And they're not, as you're right saying it, they're not living up to that pressure. I mean, good news, there's a long way to go yet, and this league is so shite. It's not beyond us to go on a run and finish in the top 2, but it's rapidly looking like it's Cardiff plus 1 other now. So 1 place is already gone. Cardiff have got to really screw it up from here for me.
This league's absolutely toilet, honestly. There's not one team that I've watched so far this season where I've been like, they're a really decent side. Not really. They're all average, and that's shown in the table where it's so even, and that's what's frustrating, because it's there for town. If they get that consistency, 3 or 4 wins, you're right up there, but we just can't do it. And it's like it's there within his grasp, and we're just still short. No matter how much money we spend, we just can't seem to get it, that winning formula. I mean, God knows what's going to happen when we go to Cardiff, but we'll get on to that later. But and to add insult to
I think we know what's going to happen when we go.
That's the spirit.
We know.
Okay, we haven't finished talking about last game yet. Give us a chance.
Oh God. And to get even more depressed, at the end of Luton, obviously we have more injuries piling up, don't we? So Anthony Evans, poor lad, he comes on, and 90 seconds later he's been taken off with an awful injury again. I mean, the last 90 seconds is never great, is it? I mean, you ask my missus,
I don't know. But I'll take that.
But I mean, how awful for him. He does all that work to get back. Yeah. And you don't want to see that, do you? And that's just something else in it on top of everything else. It's just awful, lad, isn't it?
Yeah, they're humans after all, aren't they? To quote a song, and it's yeah, you cannot feel anything other than just, sympathy and empathy for him to work as hard as he did, because he did it in Austria, didn't he? So he's been 4 months coming back, and apparently it's a different injury. It's the same knee, but it's a different injury now. Whether that's true or not, but it's not. The what went before has not gone again. It's somewhere else. But it looked like he just got a swinging leg that just knocked his knee. I wasn't really sure how it had happened. But yeah, you've got to be so unlucky, and not that he'll give a flying toss about our good wishes, but I certainly wish the guy the best of luck, and particularly his contract's up at the end of the year. I think, am I right in saying?
I think so. Yeah.
What a situation that is to be in. Another 4 months before he can get back. Is he going to be able to play for a contract? They've got families, they've got mortgages, they've got all that type of stuff, and you really do feel for players when that sort of situation happens to them.
Just like, guaranteed Christmas comes every year. Mikel Miller, guaranteed, picks up a long-term injury again after a few games. You can't write it, can you? Again, I feel sorry for the lad, but we have too many of these players where we've given contracts to, but we sign players who are just permanently injured. You spoke to Plymouth fans before we signed him. He's great when he plays, but he hardly ever plays, and then we're surprised when we hardly get anything out of him. Brilliant player and a really nice guy by all accounts. But we just can't have a squad full of these players that we just never see.
When did it happen? Was it in the Mansfield
That's
game?
What got me. No, that's what got me.
It was towards the end of Luton, wasn't it? Was it?
I don't know.
The thing is with him, he'd never looked injured at all. It was Mansfield. It was Mansfield. He got
Mansfield.
But watching it, being there, there was no limping. There was no nothing.
Nothing.
It was such a strange injury for him. And initially, I think the rumours were it was going to be a couple of weeks and not much more than that. And then all of a sudden, it's turned into 2 months. Is it now? Is that what we're at?
That's what I said. 2 months. He said. Yeah.
Although today somebody spoke to Herbie Kane in the little TP, whatever they call it. And he's going to be back mid-January, he reckons. So there is a little bit of positivity there on the injury front. But the thing with Mikel Miller, and the reason why it's such a big issue is that we were just starting to have nice partnerships all the way around the team. You had Wiles and Sorensen down one side, actually, that one in there. You had Ledson and Harness in midfield. You had Balker, you had Feeney. You've got all these dudes working well. Ruskin and Miller was working really, really well down that left-hand side. I know Ashley came in today, and we'll get onto that in a second. It's never going to be Miller and Ruskin. I don't think it's going to be. I think they had a really, really good understanding on both defensive duties, because both of them have played as a winger and as a fullback and as a wing back. So they've kind of both of them done that. So it gives a little bit of a different dynamic, and it'll be a really big miss. Just like Van La Parra was when he played for us. There's things I think Mikel Miller does that you might not notice, but one thing you do notice is when he plays, we win games. We win far more games when he plays than when he doesn't. And it will be a very big miss, because unfortunately for us, if it's 2 months now for Miller, it might be a little bit longer, because he normally takes a bit longer to come back into the fold after he comes back anyway.
The setback after the setback. Yeah, they're knocking about, aren't they?
Oh, this is cheering it. So I think we've got to...
Happy Saturday night.
What we need is a new sporting director who doesn't have a reputation from his previous club for signing players who got injured a lot and thinking they'll be fine when they come and play for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what we need.
Yeah. Oh, dear. Anyway, so I think, one thing we have to get is wingers, surely. We have to get some people that can play wide with pace, because you're right, when Miller doesn't play, we suffer. We still haven't replaced him. We haven't brought in anybody that can really fill his boots when he's out, and that is a major problem. And we're going to suffer again, aren't we? We're going to suffer while he's out till January. So that has to be a priority. I mean, I'm saying this, I've no idea really what they're going to do, but to me, that has to be one of the top priorities, because with next to no pace, next to no width, there's no one really that gets on the ball and runs it, apart from Ashia.
Ashia's done a lot of that.
Ashia does, but we've not got many of them types of players, have we? So no one to get us off our seats other than to go home. Like,
well, there was potentially Redmond. Potentially Redmond, wasn't there? There was Redmond and Alves that could have fitted that gap. But again, funnily enough, they're both injured, and with no idea on the timelines for either of those two, have we? So whether they're going to get returned or whether they'll come back in, January time, and you'd hope they'd be able to do that. But we are very short. If it's not Ashia, particularly down the left-hand side, then who is it? I can't think of anybody.
Keep having setbacks as well, don't we? So Watmore had a setback. I mean, I'm assuming Marcus McGuane's had a setback because he said he were due to come back, and that was 4 weeks ago. So I don't know where. I don't know. I'm still not convinced he's real, mate. I've not seen.
I saw him at Blackpool. I saw him at Blackpool.
Yeah, he does
sat
exist.
really nicely between the two centre backs against 10 men as deep as possible.
Popping
but
it
technically,
about.
he looked really proficient on the ball.
Yeah.
He'll actually. And according to some reports this week, is he not the highest paid player at the club, apparently?
Doesn't that just sum it up, mate?
Apparently, those there are always based upon old figures from Football Manager or something, so I don't particularly believe it too much, to be totally honest. But no, I think you've got to go a bit forward to have a setback, though, aren't you? And I think we're going recently, for Town fans looking in from the outside, we just don't really see him anyway. I've not even seen him in the TP. He must have been in there at some point, meeting the fans before the game, but we've not seen that yet from him. But he did well Oxford years ago, and obviously being Barcelona, on paper he looks like he should be something that's a real asset to the club, and I'm still looking forward to seeing him. It's just when will that be?
I walked around the club shop this afternoon and I saw a calendar and it had all nice pictures of players on, and half of them we hadn't seen for 4 months.
The curse of the calendar.
I thought
Is that for 2026? Maybe it's when they're coming back from injury.
Maybe
that's what the photos are.
Yeah, absolutely boss it. Maybe. Right, let's move on. So that's Luton. It was awful. So we're expecting some kind of response today. The weather obviously has been abysmal. So, big up to all the fans that went down there, freezing our balls off, just sat there thinking, why were you? You're expecting at least, some kind of response. So you expect them to come out, get stuck in, exert themselves. Now, Wimbledon, they've got a bit of a reputation of being physical side. Started the season pretty well, to be fair. I think they're surprised quite. I think a lot of people had them as search for relegation start of the season, but they've done pretty well organised. So it wasn't going to be easy. And with the conditions as well, it's just not Huddersfield Town conditions. Playing a physical side, awful weather. It had all the recipe for disaster. And but I thought we started reasonably. We started well. We created, didn't we? We created some really good chances. Their keeper makes a brilliant save with his leg, I think, to deny it Castledine a shot, and then Ledson just flicks an header onto bar from a corner, and you think, come on. And then, of course, long ball from Wimbledon, Bolker, weak as water, defenders, nobody's picking up their player on that right-hand side. Cross comes in, nobody's picking up their player in the centre, and it's a simple goal, a League One-esque goal. Route one, no fannying about, unlike us passing it 15, 20 passes on edge of box. It were bang, bang, banging in, and everyone sat there thinking, here we go again.
It's cheery, isn't it? It's a nice cheery one, this. No, the thing is, with the team selection alone to start off with today, now, Matt and I went through this on the drive-in, in that we obviously had to find a replacement for Harness. And now the worry we had was that it'd be Gooch. We saw Gooch against Wickham away, I believe. It didn't quite work.
I didn't.
He's not that guy for me in that centre midfield. You need to have Ledson in there with somebody a bit creative, like Harness is. Gooch isn't that guy. He's got many assets and fans love him. I understand that. But he's not going to be, for me, a partner with Ledson at any point where it creates quite a lot. It just doesn't happen. And now, Gaz and I were talking about this throughout the game. Wimbledon started really narrow up top. So they had a back five pretty much set deep. Fine. They left 2 guys up top. And all they were trying to do was to stop Town passing the ball to Bolker. Or if the ball went to Bolker, what they did was the first striker marked him. The second striker came across left Feeney, stood behind him to stop his channels. Now, the answer to that is normally you have, hopefully, Harness, or you'd have Ledson, and today we'd want Gooch to split and to go show for Bolker. Neither of them do it. Ledson has, throughout his time at Town, bar with Harness, done this for me, in that I don't think he shows for the ball as much as he should, unless he drops really, really, really deep. And then it's not really helping you at all anyway. Then you're in the same position as one of the centre-backs, because he never gets the ball and drives it forward. He likes to ping it quite a bit to over the full-back or the wing-back's heads. He does that every now and again, and that works to some extent. But with Bolker not being able to play the ball out, Wimbledon were very organised. Then he goes to Feeney, and for the first 45 minutes today, we went back to passing to the full-backs. And that's because Wimbledon had a game plan where they weren't going to let us play out from the central of the back. Bolker managed a couple of times in the first half, where a couple of our chances came from directly. But the first 25 minutes, we started okay. Like, I'm not going to say we started poorly. We started okay, but it was more tempo. Gooch was everywhere without creating too much, but he looked busy and then he looked knackered. He looked, as I mentioned as well to Gaz and Matt at half time, he looked like a kid when he go up front. Do you know, like, you don't play up front ever? And then then your manager goes, go on, have 10 minutes. You run your heart out for 10 minutes because you want to play as a striker. Gooch, you want to play as a centre midfielder over a fullback. You're far more involved in the game. It's such a better position to play if you can play it. But he looked like he knackered him out, and he never looked to me like he kind of reset back into the tempo of the game. He looked like he got quite tired. I'm not saying he had a bad performance. It's just, again, today, our central midfield for that first 45 minutes were non-existent. Even though over the course of the half, I think we probably deserved not to be, we definitely deserved not to be behind at half time. Yeah. It would just, we kind of had the play, but not the designed play. We didn't create clear-cut chances as much as ridiculous. We're still at the bar, but they were just not the flow, not the fluidity that we've had recently. And to me, it's down to the midfield not winning the battle, and Wimbledon stopping Bolka do what he does. That's why I disagree with you a little bit, saying it's not Bolka being the biggest difference. It's not necessarily him as an individual. It's just that I think he enables Harness and Lidson to then show for the ball, and it drags us forward. But in that first half, it just wasn't there for me today. Like you say, I expected a response from Tuesday night. And whilst it started with a bit of tempo, very quickly, I thought it kind of dissipated. And then when Wimbledon had the first shot, I think, the first shot of the game at 18 minutes, they kind of didn't take charge of the game, but they came back into it because we didn't really have any pattern of play.
We started all right. That, you know, I'd much rather we start like that than we have done in previous games. You know, I thought Ashley caused him a few problems. Although after sort of 20 minutes there, number 2, the lad that was playing right wing back, I thought he got a bit of a grip of Ashley, then pretty much showed him outside from there on in. Yeah. I thought the front 2 looked like where Charles had the chance, which came because I think the ball was actually slid into Castledine, but it was such a poor ball, it ran past Castledine into a load of space. And fair play to Charles, he were on it in the snap, and the keeper made a good save. And I think probably the tail of the first half for me is the keeper had to make 2 good saves, and he made 2 good saves. He did what he should do and kept him in the game. And I would think at half time they were absolutely delighted to be in front, but it was another error of mistake. So actually, it was a mistake before the mistake. So Sorensen gave the ball away in centre midfield. They then had 3, 4, 5 passes. Then it was rolled into that lad. I mean, Bolka, weak as piss, honestly. I mean, it was just, I was fuming. You know, he wasn't even a big lad that rolled him. He just rolled him, used his ass, and he was away. Bolka's on the ground. And as you said, you know, Ruskin's fucking la la la.
That's what got me.
What Ruskin fucking doing?
We know Bolka doesn't win those one-on-ones. He doesn't win those duels.
So you've got to go with a runner, because if he loses it, you've got to be with the, and he didn't. He just let him go. And the guy that scored, he just sauntered into the box, stood on the penalty spot. Nobody bothered going to mark him, and he slammed it in. Yeah, and I would think they were delighted at half time.
It's smash and grab, though, wasn't it? It was a
smash and grab. Absolutely was.
That's what you want if you're the away team, and that's how you go into half time.
Correct. The onus is on us, innit? That's the problem at home. The onus is on us. And I thought, I thought we started all right. I wasn't keen on Gooch in centre midfield. I said before the game, it worried me. I was surprised Wiles didn't play. And Grant said after the game, he'd said the Wiles looked tired and he wanted to rest him. And the last time he did that, he came on and scored a goal against Doncaster, as though Grant was some kind of fucking soothsayer. Last time I did this, the guy scored the winner. They were unlucky to be behind at half time. Let's be honest. The second half is probably the part of the game that really irritates me most. I thought first half they were unlucky. Could easily been 1 or 2 or 3-1, but as you said, they had one chance and took it.
Boos at half time, not for the first time. A bit harsh there,
well harsh. I gave the rest of the cowshed a withering look.
You didn't say all that.
I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything. I just looked and all that.
And he turned his back up pitch. Boo! All yourself fans.
I don't really.
All yourself fans.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, that one. Yeah. No, I won't go into that.
I think it's frustration. Isn't it?
I get that, but that's just too.
It's still ego. It's an ego. I think it's an ego thing from Town fans that a lot of us believe that we're too big for this division and we shouldn't be here. It's a hangover from the Premier League.
We're used to it by now, aren't we?
Well, clearly not everybody is, because that's what the booing comes from. That first half for me didn't deserve a boo whatsoever.
No,
there was a Bolka mistake in the goal, but it's not like Goodman made an error at that point. There was no real overall. We should have been leading at half time. We hit the bar. We had Charles should have scored. He should have scored. Although I still. Even with his goal scoring record, when he gets that in the moment, I don't feel like he's going to put it away yet. Whereas if Alfie May's in that moment,
I'd have put my mortgage on Alfie May scoring that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I still don't feel fully set. And I don't know what that says about my opinion of Dion Charles or whatnot. But when he got there, it all looked rushed. It looked a little bit wrong.
Keeper's done well for me there.
Yeah.
Keeper's done well and come out and block that really well. So,
but there was corners. We looked good from corners. We looked dangerous from corners. We were bunching and breaking away. And we looked much better than we have done recently in certain moments. But this is football, isn't it? This is where you can play. I won't say great. I'd have given it a 6 out of 10 for that first half. And Wimbledon weren't quite even at that. But they managed to somehow go in 1-0. Look, that's what happens. And it's how you respond in the second half then that dictates games. And the thing is, if this is just a one-off and you've won 10 before this, and it happens, and say we'd have lost 1-0, we couldn't have got back into it, but we went at it all game. Again, that's what happens in football. That's why we love it. If the team that spent the most money and played best every game won every game, it'd be rugby league. It'd be boring. That's what it'd be.
Yeah.
So you need to have games like this. I understand that. And that first half, as it on its own was okay, even though the result, the score at that point wasn't. The performance was, all right. Tweak it a little bit. See how we go at the second half. Although getting a bit itchy when I looked there and all the subs were still outside warming up. Like it needed a change. It definitely needed a change at that point. But for the entirety of half time, I'm thinking, we're not going to make any substitutions here, are we?
Yeah. Bojan would have scored it, guys. Definitely.
He wouldn't.
Top assister so far. Top assister and goal scored combined. Bojan.
Yeah.
Goals and assists.
I'm not having it.
Two things for me. Questions. One, why have we got two midfielders sat just in front of the defence and about 50 yards of space between the midfield and attack? Just a vast acreage of open fit rather than pushing up slightly further. And two, when we have a corner, or if the opposition has a corner or a set piece, or why do we not leave someone up by halfway line? Why do we not leave one or two players up? Because there's no outball from us whatsoever. It forces, if you leave one, if you left, like, if we had Alfie May playing or something like that up front, it just gives them something to think about, and it's an outball for us for a long ball. Why do we not do it, Killer? You're the expert in the tactics, mate. Come on, explain.
I don't know. It's a modern thing, isn't it, to get everybody back in the box? But funnily enough, Wimbledon didn't. They left two up top most of the game. That they kind of left players further upfield. I don't know.
It's I think it's because of this zonal marking thing he does at corners. So he needs everybody back because he's got three guys marking nobody. Yeah, so you then need the rest of the team to try and stop the runners. And I know we're going to come on to the other goals, but that's where the third goal came from. With everybody back, 6'4" lumbering centre half with nobody picking him up.
Yeah.
So, but I think that's what it is.
But you're talking about Joe Low then.
If you were 6'4", I could have been talking about you. Oh, you're 5'4", not 6'4". Yeah,
5'4", 6'4" round, 5'4" tall.
James Murgatroyd said Lezen isn't what we hoped for, is it? I didn't think he would too bad today, but yeah, he's not blown us away, has he? Let's be honest. He's not the. I think not been the tough tackling or guess.
No, with Ledson, I expected him to be good with no matter who he's with. I kind of expected he's going to be a leader. And I don't just mean he's going to talk. I don't just mean he's going to shout at people. Because I tell you what, he shouted at a lot of people today at different moments when we conceded goals. But I thought his performances wouldn't be so dependent on who's with him. I thought he'd be the stalwart. He's always going to give you a 7 out of 10. Always going to be like prime Johnny Ogg. He never really had, for me, great games, but he never really had poor games. He would just plug and play, did his job. Great, solid. I kind of thought Ledson was going to be that. But his performances vary on who he's with. And for today, it just didn't work. And I think that's why you pick him out. One thing that he does do, I think, in games when you're chasing, he goes missing somewhat. He's got a tendency to go missing. We've got a few of them by the opinions of most Town fans. But I think Ledson also does the same thing. And I don't know why, because I don't think he doesn't want to. It's just however the game plays out, he has a tendency to drop deeper and deeper and deeper than into poorer positions. It's not... I don't think Ledson has been as good as I expected him to be either. No. But then in the last few games when everything clicked, he looked like a bit of a standout and exactly what you needed to be. So he is there. There is a player there, lads. But it is dependent on who he's with, which is surprising because, again, I thought he'd be the guy that made everybody else better. When the reality of it is, he needs somebody else to enable him to do what he wants to do. And bar Harness, no one else has been able to do that just yet. Although, to be fair, even whilst for the little period we did play 4-4-2 in central midfield, for me, I'll take penalties here. I thought it looked okay. I thought it looked okay. But we won the second half. That's another positive. There you go.
Gazza's face says it all, doesn't it? It's last year I thought it was a positive, and that's why I've left a comment up from James there, because it's nice to see somebody get on the ball and not be afraid to run at people and try and make things happen. He's obviously not. He's still a youngster. He's not the finished article, but I really like him. He's not the quickest, but at least he's not afraid to run at people, get in the box and have a go. And I thought he was a positive today.
There was a couple of times where he carried the ball 30, 40, 50 yards and he just took the pressure off. And it's a long time since we've had anybody that's done that, almost Van La Parra-esque. I think number 2, as I say, I thought did a really good job on him after 20 minutes. But the positive of that was he kept forcing down the side. So Ashley had to put some crosses in. He couldn't just keep coming in. Because there was a chance after a few minutes where actually he came inside his right foot. There were 4 men in the box. He could have swung it in. But instead he jinked and tried to get a shot away. And of course we just closed down. So yeah, I mean, the lad's got something about him, that's for sure, but he's very raw still. And you can see probably after, I think you said about after an hour, you can see why he doesn't start many games.
I think we need to mention his dive though.
Well, Shep's just put here, his dive was good.
That were wicked, wasn't it?
I couldn't see it from Cowshed. We were absolutely certain it was a penalty.
Mate, what a joke.
You were still judging everybody, weren't you, Andy, for booing at half time? No, that dive was horrendous.
I was going around and having a one-to-one conversation.
It were awful, that dive. Honestly, if they brought in a rule that sin bin people that dives, I'd totally be behind it. I'd love that. Like was it a green card? Did they trial this at some point?
Premier League, was there? Who'd all be
no, but it was he went down full arms akimbo, like he were proper throwing himself to the ground there.
He done hard work. He beat 3 men. He done absolutely brilliant.
Brilliant run. Brilliant. Dean Ball agrees with me. I don't understand it, mate.
Dean Ball always agree. In fairness, Dean Ball always agree with you.
If he'll sell a T-shirt, he'll agree with you.
I don't. I for the life of me, I don't get it, because to me that's a real threat. We've got players that, I mean, if like Joe Taylor were playing or so, you've got the perfect players for that to just get that out ball. And every time it's just coming back in because there's nobody there. I don't get it. If you're listening, come on, sort it, Grant. Anyway,
he's not listening.
He's not listening to us. He's not listening to us.
I'm not kidding myself that anybody connected with the club can be asked for this. But anyway, it's a real bugbear of mine that it just pisses me off every time I see it. I just wish they would, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen, does it? It's not the modern game or whatever bollocks that is to have somebody up there.
Mm.
So we get in at half time. Everyone's miserable as usual, wondering why we've trailed down. Getting his earful with the new speakers, by the way.
Brand new sound system today. Yeah, that was loud.
A bit too loud at the beginning. It went to like 11 bass to quiet to then blasting out again. They were trying to work out the level to begin with, but once they got
it's not like that in posh seats, is it? Ian? It's fine where we are.
It was perfect. That sound.
Perfect.
It's perfect for you posh twats.
Yeah, I was in the trenches. Maybe it was a little bit giving us tinnitus. I don't know.
Even when they tried
something new.
Too loud now.
They've fitted us a new speaker system,
down a bit.
And it's still not good enough. Not these
ones.
I want new speakers, but not these.
An announcer in very good.
Now that announcer, don't get me going on him.
I just like the Ruben Ruskin thing.
That's the thing. That makes me want to throw myself off the upper tier every time he does it.
What I liked about halftime today was the sight that Clyde Vinard has definitely not changed his footballing capability. He couldn't hit that bloody thing. Did
you see shoes he had on? He had some ruffle creepers on. Honestly,
we might as well have worn them when he was lurking for us. To be fair to him, but
I saw him in John Lewis the other week. Yeah. That's it. That's the end of the story. There's no more beyond that. I just saw him in John Lewis. Yeah.
I feel for the poor lad who risked his Seabrook crisps and his club voucher on Clyde Vinard being able to pass a ball 20 yards.
Is that what it was?
That's what he risked.
Who says entertainment is dead?
Mark Harrison says, who is the match? I don't know, actually. I don't know what his name is, but yeah, Gaz is a big fan. I think Gaz should do it. Maybe you and Ian could go on and do it.
We've got used to these microphones.
Well, maybe I could.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Imagine what I'd say when I introduced Bojan.
Human.
Love that. You're doing it.
What the fuck are you doing here?
26, the human love heart.
Just don't announce him. Just
skip
put somebody
him,
else in. And see if he'd start.
We're playing our Joker today, and we're not going to play Radlovich. We're going to play a packet of Seabrook chicken crisps.
Shep says the screen's too big now as well. There's people more because they couldn't see it back of
it. The thing is, they made the screen bigger, but the bit that they play the replays on is the same size. So you can't see. And the replay's no better. Anyway.
At least we've got half-time scores on there. It's not all bad. It's not all bad. But it's nice to see us concede shit goals on a widescreen. It's a novelty, isn't it?
Full HD.
Well, you don't, because
we boo with more legit. We can actually boo because we've seen it second time round.
Legitimate reason to boo. I like it. So anyway, half-time. So we got through that, and then bloody hell, we come out straight away again, Castledine. It's a really good finish. At first I thought he's mishit this because keeper just anchored to ground and it kind of trickled in, but it's looking back at it, lads, it's a good finish, that, isn't it?
Yeah, he's had a good swing. Was it left foot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the left. I thought he'd taken a deflection from where we sit. I thought he'd taken a bit of a deflection, but having seen the replay, it didn't seem to, did it? After Asher had done his wild air shot. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a nice bit of football though. Wiles he'd just come on at half time, hadn't he? He'd actually made a
Wiles,
change.
Of course.
Yeah, but first thing he did, he kept dropping in between Bolker and Sorensen, not Sorensen, Bolker and Gooch at right back and getting the ball and driving it forward. And that first goal comes from Wiles gets the ball from Bolker, drives it 20 yards, we win a throw in. He then becomes first receiver, play a nice bit of football. Cam Asher has a horrendous shot or attempt at trying to get the ball. And then it falls to Castledine as Gazelle attest. I shout, shoot. Nobody else said anything. Got it bottom corner. Listened. See, they might not listen on the managerial side, but they definitely had that. However, at one point in the game, I have to give Gaz some fair credit here. He stood up. No one else said anything. Goes, that's a fucking foul for a ref. And the referee did give the foul throw.
After his 47 foul throw.
And 20 yards further on from where the ball
it was as if he listened to him. It was perfect.
I was getting really fed up at that point, Nick.
How awful was that ref at Luton, by the way? Now, I'm not saying that was a reason for us we lost the game, but he was terrible. Absolutely
elbowed
awful.
my lad underneath the. Is it Yates who scores the winners? Elbowed my lad.
Handball, penalty.
Oh, yeah. And then Longwick's taking Mickey on Instagram, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, fair dues. Wait till
Well,
you
they
get
playing as a centre back though. Did we try him at a centre back ever?
I think
we must have done in a back three at some point, but he never played in the back.
Yeah. I think we did. I think we tried it.
But as a back two, because he looked quality, didn't he?
Who?
Nigel Longwick.
Oh, Longwick. Yeah.
Did a number on us, right? Anyway.
Yeah. But with a lot of it's typical Town, innit? We get a nice goal there, get back in it, and what do? Within 30 seconds, fuck it up, don't we? And we get a free kick set up, and a lot of us around Maya were thinking, this is in here. I don't know why, but we just said, I bet this goes in. The wall, and with a lot of comments here, this one that Goodman probably done now after that mistake, so we'll talk about it. The wall setup is wrong. They managed to whip it round, and not only whip it round on target, but it's more central. It's not even right into the corner. It's central, so the wall setup is wrong. Goodman goes, and at first, watching it live, I thought he's just putting this out for a corner. He's just parrying it out for a corner and reset. But he just does it. He does the opposite. He just pushes into centre at goal. It's the worst possible thing that a goalkeeper can do. And it's just a simple tap it. None of us follow it up. We're all stood watching, scratching ourselves, doing anything but follow it up and defending. And their player just taps it in. Thank you very much. What? Again, it's just such a cheap, rubbish goal to concede after doing so well, so early in the second half to get back. You think, right, momentum's ours. Come on, let's get into them and get another one. And then we do that.
I don't know about the lining up of the wall. They had a lad that was trying to get in Goodman's eye line every time we were lining up a wall. They did it for the other goal, the third goal that they conceded, and I don't know where he was making faces at Goodman trying to put him off, but he was standing in his eye line to try and get the lining up of the wall wrong. So whether that had a part of it or not, and like you said, Ledson and somebody else absolutely tore into
Gooch. I think Gooch were in there.
Which for me, I'm a bit grumpy about. That's not great leadership. Bollocking a young kid who's up in front of the his fans from last year and his fans from this year. That's not great leadership. I'm not saying you pat him on the back and say, come along, never mind, but you don't, that doesn't help for me. The other group that I have to call out at this stage, though, is ourselves in the South Stand again. I won't be getting let back in at this rate because we had returned a chance that had been sent to us while they were lining up that free kick. They'd said, well, it's all gone quiet over there. So it had gone to 1-1, hadn't it? So we're giving it, it's all gone quiet over there. And when you're goading the opposition fans, the last thing you want them to do is then go and score. So I'm taking some of the blame on the South Stand as well, because while we were singing, it's all gone quiet over there, or you're not singing anymore, well, score, don't they? So that's got to be something on us as well. We don't chant that when they've got a free kick on the edge of the area, lads. Blue and White Army or something else, but don't be having a pop at the opposition fans, because if I'd have been at Wimbledon and I'd have been on floor with laughter after 2-1 up, after we've just been giving it, it's all gone quiet over there, and it's not gone quiet anymore. Because guess what, lads? We've just scored again because you're shit.
The thing is with the free kick, though, right? It's obviously an error on Goodman. It's an awful, awful error. It's about as bad as an error a keeper can make, I think, that, to be totally honest.
Managed to get it back in as well.
But he played there last year. They absolutely loved him. But they will know his weaknesses because they were following up everything. every time they had an effort, they were following up because they know what his weaknesses are. He has strengths. He looks like a quality keeper, and at times he performs well. But I don't think there's any doubt now. I think for most of us that have seen him for this season so far, that he's a keeper that's a confidence keeper. And I know a lot are, but I don't think Lee Nichols is. I don't feel like that's an issue there. But we had Ryan Schofield before, where things went wrong, and then it went wrong and wrong and wrong, got worse and worse and worse. And I feel with Goodman in games, this is what happens. He has an error early doors, and he just doesn't recover, and his performance throughout the game lessens and lessens and lessens and lessens, and he struggles. It was shocking. You just can't give goals away like that. And it's becoming a common occurrence, isn't it? In that 2 games in a row, to me, he's cost us a game. At Luton, I think we were performing poorly enough to lose regardless of that. But unfortunately, Goodman made sure that it was harder than it had to be. And then today, this started what's cost us 2 points. And I think one positive you can take is at no point when we did fall behind did we look like we weren't going to get back into it.
Yeah.
I did feel like nobody's head dropped, apart from everybody's at Goodman's. And I just, if Nichols is in net, do you think Gooch and Ledson give it him as much as Goodman got it?
No, I don't feel so.
No.
It just doesn't feel to me, looking at it, as if he's a part of that group of lads, and that the players respond to him differently than what they will do to Nichols. Because I'm with you, Andy. I thought the screaming at him afterwards was a bit full on, especially when they didn't track back either. So you can shout Goodman all you want. It was a terrible mistake. Wimbledon had 2 guys, I think, following the ball in.
Nobody's following in.
Gooch and Ledson just not there.
So
they've got to accept some sort of responsibility, and it is in those moments when you should take some yourself. You normally fire at somebody else, just so it looks like it's their fault.
Their fault.
But there was a little bit of blame all over the shop there. But he's got to stop at this point, hasn't it?
I think we've got to go back to the concession of the free kick as well. What the hell Balker's trying to do there is absolutely beyond me.
He got physically dominated today.
Well, I think maybe he was trying to go, look, I am actually not having nightmares over Tom Eaves again, and I am a muscly big, area centre half, and I can boss people. But he just tried to stomp his way through that lad. It was one of the clearest free kicks I've ever seen, but no need for it. He's facing the other way. He's not doing anything with it, and then Balker just walks through the middle of him. It's a ridiculous free kick to go.
I do think Goodman is. You're right. I think he is confident. I mean, he's not young. I get he's another one like Lowe. He's a young lad, right? And I think, although Grant gave it the whole, I've got 2 number 1 keepers. I think at Canal Side, he's telling Goodman, you're my number 1.
Yeah.
I do think he's telling him that. Nichols played 3-4 games, won Player of the Month, and was out.
Oh, Glennon wasn't talking about that. What if you listen to Radio Leeds kept talking about how do you drop your Player of the Month?
But Grant's view of that was, I needed to change something. We weren't winning games, so I changed something, and it worked. I would probably argue more the fact you had to play Marcus Harness in centre midfield and had no other choice is probably more like the reason you won those games rather than the changer.
I still think I agree with the decision initially to put him in, but it gets to a point where you've made so many mistakes like this, you've got no option.
I think what Grant sees is Grant sees him as having better distribution with his feet than Nichols, which is part of how he wants to play. So I guess I can understand his logic. But how long do you go? Because my guess is on Tuesday night, Nichols would have been in anyway on Tuesday night. So, next week at Cardiff, it's a big choice. He's got a big call to make who he puts back in, because if he puts a lad back in and he makes another error, he's going to have to take him out, and then he can only get back in when Nichols makes a mistake. So, it's a big call for Grant next week. As an ex-goalkeeper, he probably knows more than anybody else. You've got to have the ability to just go, I made a mistake. It is what it is. You can put it to bed and you move on, because when a keeper makes a mistake, it results in a goal. When a striker misses an open goal, he gets another chance 5 minutes later, doesn't he? Do you know what I mean?
I don't think it's a good thing having 2 number 1s. I think it's an awful thing to have. I think it creates
extra
normal pressure.
It's not normal.
If your guy gets injured, and Nichols, to be fair, does get injured a little bit, so I think you do need a better backup than what other clubs might have if you've got a guy that's going to play 46 games over the course of the season. But the pressure on Goodman as a young lad to come in is displace Nichols either through deserved or, as sometimes fans think, preference of Lee Grant and whatnot, or that we're having to play him due to the loan agreement, which has been debunked by the club many, many times. I think it adds extra pressure on a young goalkeeper in goal, having Nichols behind him. That's not a good thing. Nichols isn't at the age now where he doesn't want to play anymore. He's not a 37, 38-year-old keeper that's transitioning into being a coach. He's still playing. He signed a new contract to play, right? And you've got a young lad coming in. Obviously, at Wimbledon last year, it's a very different thing. They didn't expect to get promoted last year. They overperformed and got promoted. The pressure was very different than coming to us, where we're expecting to finish in the top 2. The fans are expecting it. It's coming from the owner that that's what we want. You're having to perform every single game, but you also have the extra pressure of Lee Nichols underneath. It's not a good situation for Goodman to be in. And I do think that is contributing to the mistakes he's making week in and week out. And it is awful being a keeper because it's in your head. If you make one mistake mentally, they've scored and you've changed the outcome for everybody in the stadium. Your 10 teammates on the pitch, the 7 subs plus the people not selected in the management, and the 15,000, 16,000 people in the stadium today on your one lapse of judgment or your one mistake. It's an awful position to be in. And I think what we've created around him with Nichols is probably making it harder for him. And he'd have probably done better at a different club where he'd have gone in number one, no pressure from anybody else. And then like he did last year and did really, really well for it. So I do feel for him on that side, but he can't start next week against Cardiff. He just can't.
I think he might. I wouldn't be surprised if he did.
He can. No, I can.
He
Well,
can.
it depends if Nichols.
He can.
It depends if Nichols makes a mistake Tuesday.
He could be our hero, couldn't he? On the day.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's one of them in it where he's obviously he's a confidence player. He wants to be main man, and I could understand it if Nichols was playing poorly, and he's coming, but he wasn't. He was playing really well. Yeah, we weren't keeping loads of clean sheets, but I don't think that we really particularly down to Nichols. I think the defence just wasn't particularly good, wasn't settled, and he was playing really well. So then to drop him for no reason and put Goodman in, it's massive pressure. And to be fair, like he hasn't asked to be. Well, he might have asked to be picked, but ultimately it's Lee Grant's decision. He's put him in, and you know what Town fans are like, don't you? When they make their mind up about a player, they make their mind up. And he's already made a few mistakes. We're seeing it in the comments on here. We're seeing it on social media, people laying into him. Now, if it was me personally, I would maybe play him Tuesday night and put Nichols back in against a team like Cardiff who will press high, will be all over it. They'll know what his weaknesses are. It's a recipe for disaster. For me, personally, to play him, if it was me, I wouldn't. But I mean, what do you guys think listening? There's not a lot of great comments about Goodman at the moment, but so I'm guessing I know what the answer is.
I think he's second
but what
to
do
Ben
you guys
Wiles.
think? Do you drop him or not?
He's second to Ben Wiles at the moment, isn't he, for the most hated Town player, even if they're playing all right. Goodman's got to that level. He has. He's quickly become the bit of a scapegoat. We like a scapegoat as Town fans. I think it is one of our weaknesses. But I think it's common across football that you have players that don't resonate very well with a fan base, and unfortunately for Goodman, he's got to that point. I think the around us guys who were people very, very critical of Goodman.
Oh yeah,
asking him why he's here and why Nichols isn't starting. And to be honest, I think there were a few people. I spoke to a few people today, and I think every person to a man spoke about why Nichols isn't in. Yeah. And I think that is an unfair position to put him in because it's not he'll feel it. He's aware of it. They know what's going on. Footballers, they know exactly how people feel about it. But I'm with you. I think you play him Tuesday in a game that's got less pressure, where he can try and get back into some sort of form, because I think he's out of form now, and then put Nichols in on Saturday. I don't think Lee Grant has an option but to do that.
He's a puncher, isn't he? Whereas Nichols is a claimer. You know, when the cross comes in, he just doesn't come and claim it, does he? And it's fine. You know, in conditions like that today, it was dreadful. You know, you can punch it out, but don't punch it. Don't do it into the middle of your goal. You know, get it out, get it for a corner and Nichols, I just think from a defensive point of view, if I was a defender, I would have more reassurance with Nichols at the back, knowing that he can come and command his area a bit more, claim things.
It's one of those, isn't it, though, with the way that he slows distribution down, Nichols in particular, and just seems to take forever to make his mind up about what he's going to do. That's his major downside. Keeping the ball out of the net, he's better than Goodman, but actually playing the football side of things, which goalkeepers need to do these days, Goodman appears to be Chapman's probably the best of all three of them, but it's what you want. I cannot remember the last time we kept a clean sheet. Can anybody remember that? I can't recall.
Good question.
I don't know.
I'll have a look.
Thank you.
I'll come back to you.
So that's the main, for me, that's the main purpose of a goalkeeper, is to stop that round thing going in the net, and anything else that comes of it, fair enough. But you've got 10 outfield players to play the football bit. So I'd rather have the guy that stops the ball going in the net more often, because you've got a better chance.
I think it's a luxury. I think if you're dominating possession, then you can get a keeper in that plays football a bit from the back, and it does make a difference. But when you've got such massive weaknesses all over the team, and that the midfield can't get into the game, the centre-backs are too deep and too slow, I don't think the keeper's the biggest issue at that point. And at that point, I'd go with the safest pair of hands.
Yeah. It was Exeter away on the 27th of
there.
September.
I was there.
And then before that, it was Burton the week before. And then Stevenage and Doncaster. So we've only kept 4 clean sheets all season.
You haven't kept a clean sheet in over 2 months.
Yeah, 27th September, the last time we kept a clean sheet.
I mean, it'll be Goodman with most of them, won't it?
Oops.
That's good.
That's it, Gaz. Just knock everything off.
Sorry about that, buddy.
We are live. Has just been demonstrated.
Good numbers listing, by the way. 400, 450.
Have you got nothing better to do on a Saturday night?
Hey,
Come
don't
on.
diss it,
We
mate,
haven't.
don't diss it.
Clearly. We have no room to talk, have you? You've done.
Sat in Ian's garage. What are you on about?
He's driven from Penistone to sit in a garage, and he's calling other people out.
Go out.
It's
Sorry.
things like
Talk
this
to your
that win
friends.
your podcast awards, lads. Come on.
Is
Content
it?
creators will be there next year.
We'll be there.
At
What awards?
There, mate.
What awards are
We'll
these?
be Tuxedo.
Tuxedo.
Football content
Football
awards.
content awards.
Yeah, my tuxedo don't fit.
Get in shape. Come on, bike ride.
Yeah, come on, bike ride.
No, you're all right. Thanks for the
Team
invite.
cyclists.
I'll come. Me and Nick have agreed we're going to come and clap you. As you're riding, we're going to.
We'll stay
gonna stand
outside one of
outside.
the pubs.
Yeah, we're going to
We'll
go.
be like,
Hey.
yes, come
Or
on,
somewhere in
lads.
Fenny Bridge, somewhere
Well
like
done.
that.
Yeah.
Come
Way well
Right,
done.
I've got to get there first, don't we, Andy?
okay. Yeah, very true.
If it was
As
if
you
it wasn't
got past
cycling,
it,
I'd be all
ambulance
over
will
it.
wave at you.
I'm cycling. I'm awful. Hate it. Never been a cyclist.
I have to admit, I'm not a big fan of cyclists, to be honest.
That's
I
a
can't
dilemma
believe
for
that,
me.
Gaz, that you'd be pissed off about something.
My biggest worry is
What do
that.
you like?
Look, my
That's why
biggest
he's
worry.
perfect for a football
Listen, my
podcast, 'cause he
biggest
hates
worry
everything.
is Andy and Lycra, and that's my biggest worry. Can you imagine?
You know you've asked for them pictures. You know I'll send them you.
Anyway, sorry
That's
about
the
that,
worry
Nick.
for me.
I'll
is
throw you
I'm
off your
going to
throwing you
become
off
a
the scent.
cyclist because I'm not a huge fan of cyclists, but now I'm going to have to become one
Yeah.
to support this fantastic
Two-faced.
charity.
We had that free kick was a cracking free kick from the Wimbledon's perspective, and Town should have done much better getting rid of it. shouldn't
He's
they?
right. Thank you. Yeah, because Nick had lost that. Because I'm looking at Nick's
What
eyes.
was
No,
it?
no,
That
I
Nick's
knew-
going, I don't know where we
I
are.
know where we are. Don't worry. So I'm just like, it's just bants, innit? It's
Yeah,
just,
just-
that's
just
what
the
makes
bants.
this show, innit?
Yeah.
Like, I think Steve,
Show.
James, it was James. James Murgatroyd made a good point as well. That he's not our player, is he? He's on loan, Goodman. I can't find the comment, but I know it's there somewhere. Should we really be prioritising? We've got Lee Nichols signed up. I mean, at the end of the season, he's going, isn't it? So we become reliant on Goodman as a regular starter, and then he's going, isn't it?
If we're winning a boatload of games and we're in the top 2, nobody would care,
Nobody
Nick.
would care.
No.
And we're developing Castledine. We could be developing Alves. We could be developing Redburn. Whoever else we've got on loan. I think as a club, you've got to do the best that you can for the players that you loan. And otherwise, the likes of Chelsea and Villa and whoever else will not lend you them in the first place. So we've got to do the best by him, whether that means playing him. I think, like, as I've said before, Grant has said that he's not under instruction from Palace to play him. Well, I've got to take him at his word.
There's still an expectation, though. They will
Yeah,
get
they
game
will
time.
get
The
game
thing
time.
is, that I don't think we expected Lee Nichols to stay. I think
No.
fans expected him to move on.
Yeah,
I think everybody
Yeah.
at the club expected him to move on. And for whatever reason, it hasn't happened and he's ended up signing a new contract. But I cannot accept, personally, that Goodman came in to compete with Nichols. I don't think that would have been the plan from the outset. Goodman deserved to get to a club where he could start, having done really well last year.
Yeah.
And he's ended up here where he's got a bit extra pressure than he'd have got anywhere else, in my opinion. So I think it's a situation that changed after the transfer window closed. And we're just seeing how it plays out.
And he will be decent keeper. It's just that's why they loan him to make these mistakes here rather than at Palace or wherever.
Yeah.
It's fair enough. So yeah, so 2-1, and then you're right, Ian. They don't let their heads drop. They get back into it again, and you think it does show a bit of character, doesn't it? Because at one point, heads would have gone down at that point.
last
You concede
season.
straight away, wouldn't it?
don't
Last
get anything.
season, we would have
Don't
lost
get
that
anything
game.
from that.
But we get back into it again, don't we? And it's a decent goal again. Like, none of our goals were poor either. They were all nicely worked. I thought.
It were a brilliant moment in this goal, wasn't it, guys? Your mate in front of you starting the stand. Ben Wiles starts it by heading the ball backwards and nearly sending
Some
Wimbledon away.
bloke behind us nearly had a coronary when he hit it backwards. It was absolutely genius. Connor was pissing himself. Honestly, it was absolutely genius. He booed and then 40 seconds later, he heads ball into
He
net,
said,
didn't he?
I fucking hate Wiles,
yeah.
right? And then 40 seconds later, he said, he goes, I fucking love Wiles after he heads in.
But good work from Gooch down on that right hand side. Really good ball in, and yeah, nice headed, nice positioning from Wiles.
Was that across that Gooch picked up and then crossed back in.
Yeah.
Was that an attempt to cross? Because
Yeah.
I was going mad at Bojan not getting anywhere near it, and then I realised it were about 15 foot over his head.
Yeah.
So I don't know who's put the initial crossing, but it might have been Ruskin, but bit of work to do there.
I thought Gooch looked much better at right back
Yeah.
than he did in centre mid. I thought he caused him quite a few problems in the second half with his pace.
Direct, innit? He gets the ball and runs straight at him, and he ran it down
Yeah.
the throat, and it does help when you have fullbacks that are willing to do that. He looked much better because, to be fair to Gooch, recently he hasn't looked great when he's come on. He hasn't, obviously, he's been injured and he's never really got back into being fully fit. And I think today is the first time where, not in centre midfield, I think there was issues there, but when he went back to right back, he definitely looked like a much better player, didn't he? He is very useful, isn't he? Playing left hand side, right hand side is definitely an asset for the team. It was a good goal. It was a good run. Wiles stayed back and his positioning was good for the finish. It was more than deserved. Again, it still felt at that point, I thought Town were going to win the game. At no point in this game did I feel like we weren't going to win. Genuinely. Extra stoppage time, a little bit different. But up until that point, it felt like it was smash and grab against us and we fell behind, but we kept our shit together apart from arguing between each other. And then we got another one and we looked good again and it felt positive. It was a strange one, the entire game, really.
Well, happy 100, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you very much for listening and joining in the convo. We get back to and again, you're thinking, right, come on. We've got the incentive now. We've got momentum. Let's get it 3-2 and let's get the 3 points and then concede a stupid set piece wide right and the ball's whipped in. And I think you picked out, Ian, where Castledine was supposed to be marking the bloke, but then loses him. But then Bolker's on him and he just doesn't jump properly with him. I mean, the bloke hardly moves. It's just this big tank unit that's just ambled up, but he just bounces off his bald head and straight in. And you're thinking, it's such a simple goal. Looking at it, it's just a simple goal from Wimbledon. That should not be happening, should it? From our perspective.
No, but we do this silly zonal stuff. We constantly defend zonally, and that's so we don't worry about man marking. We kind of let them group, and then we're trying to just we like to have meat eaters. We like to have a few free headers in the box, and I don't like it. I feel very threatened and panicked when that happens. Because when they do split and run, then you have to communicate well as a unit. And we're not the group, I won't put that in there, but as a unit, you have to communicate very, very well to make sure you don't lose your runners. And Castledine's on him, and he shouldn't have been on him at any point anyway, because there's a huge height disparity. But then he does slip, and Bolker is, and he should do better, Bolker, though, shouldn't he? But he was just, from the first minute of today's game to the last minute, defensively, Bolker was pretty weak, wasn't he? Soft at all moments. And this is what you get in League One against big teams. And now he's played 3 or 4 games for us again. You're going to get other teams that are going to watch the tape and they're going to see what his weaknesses are and they'll play on it. And that's what you constantly have to adapt to it and try and find ways around it. But it was soft, wasn't it? You just can't do that. You can't work hard to get back into a game and again, give that away. And it wasn't.
But it were two stupid free kick. Ashley's free kick to start with on the touchline he lunged in, and we had 2 chances to clear. It didn't. So their man then nicks it off Ruskin's toe. So Ruskin decides to kick him up in the air. Yeah. They put a right footer and a left footer over it, and we were debating. I'm saying in the corner, this is going right on top. After Gubbin had made the error, I'm thinking they're going to stick this right on top of Gubbin. And I think all the defenders thought that as well.
Maybe that's
and I think they were ready for an in swinger, and it became an out swinger. And they just weren't ready. And I think that's why Bolker was on his heels. That's why he couldn't jump. But
I think it's important to mention, though, as well, I criticised Grant this week in that I don't feel like we make subs at the right time. We get back into games like against Luton, but then don't make the sub initially. Today we did. We brought Alfie May on straight away, got to 2-2. But then we dropped to a 4-2-3-1 formation. What? Like we were all over
no idea
him.
Why.
We were all over him. And I don't know if that's instruction from the sideline or if it's Alfie May overworking, because if you listen to his post-match press conference, he said his last 5 weeks were the worst 5 weeks of his life.
Of his life.
That's not me being dramatic either. That's what he said.
That's what he said.
He's been an awful person to be around for his wife. But it is obviously his suspension has been probably the longest suspension I can remember, a 3-game one lasting in 5 weeks. But I don't know if it's him just overworking and trying to drop deep. But for whatever, as soon as he came on, the tempo we actually had to get back to 2-2 kind of dropped. It was really strange in that I was really excited about it. Alfie May, I know, again, he scores and that's great. He does what he does. But the entire team shape just seemed to totally change, didn't it? And let Wimbledon back into it a little bit after it was all over and 4-4-2. Oh, that might Bassett here. But it felt fine. And then we shifted it. And again, as I really wanted it to be shifted, to be totally honest, so I feel like I need to apologise to everybody listening in that this is exactly what I wanted. I just didn't want Alfie May then to drop into midfield. I think we spoke about before when Alfie May and Joe Taylor play together. Alfie May drops into midfield because Taylor doesn't really run beyond. He doesn't really do very much running, so Alfie May has to do kind of a bit of everything for everyone. But we all want to see Alfie May with Bojan Radulovic. But then what happened today was Alfie May comes on, drops deeper. Everything went a bit off. Next minute, they've got a free kick. We're terrible at defending it. And like you say, guys, you're probably right on that we expected it to go straight down Guzman's throat. And because it hasn't, they've caught us by surprise. But this is what you've got to be ready for. You have to be ready for that. And we're not. It didn't feel like it would come in. But then the moment it does again, even at 3-2 down, I still thought we could win that game. Genuinely, I thought there was enough time left. 20 minutes left at that point? 15, 20 minutes left. Still felt like we could have a good go at it. But it was smash and grab 3 times over. It was another poor goal it's a poor goal to concede. And I know as fans of one club, when your team concedes, you rarely say it was a really good goal. That was a fantastic goal. You always pick out what your defence has done wrong. You always pick out what they could have done better to stop it. But with that one especially, we have to do better than that.
It were nothing. I mean, the ball was just a floated dink chip in. It was they didn't have pace, didn't have depth, wasn't a world class ball in. It was just a lob into the box, and the bloke, as you said, lumber's the right word. The bloke, he barely broke out into a run in 90 minutes, that fella, and he lumbered across. And in fairness to him, I thought it was a good header. In fairness to him, because he flicked it perfectly into the top corner. But another goal where you just look at it and just think this is too easy. It's too easy to score against.
Yeah. It's you can't do it. You can't concede goals like that and expect to win games. You just can't. And you're right, Ian. You look at the stats of the game, and Town completely dominant. And apart from these little spikes of Wimbledon chances, and nearly every single one they score.
Yeah.
It's just one of them. Now, was it just? I don't know what's happening with May. I don't know whether it's Alfie May doing this himself. It can't be on Grant, surely. This Gaz that they're dropping him deep, surely. But obviously he's trying too hard. I think he's wanting to get involved all the time and get on the ball, which is great. But he has to stay up. And when you've got Radulovic, one thing that he can do is bring people into play a little bit. He can hold the ball up, and you want him running beyond. You want him getting up there in that area to win these little flick-ons, these little fitting. But he's far too deep, and it's just ineffective.
Yeah, and also you had Ruskin, Asher, and Gooch and Castledine putting decent balls into the box. The quality of the balls into there, actually, I thought were reasonable quality. So you want Alfie May in there, don't you? Have 6 yard out, 10 yard out, sniffing round, wanting goal, which is how the equaliser came. He was sniffing, and there he was, stood on his own 2 yards out. So that's why you want him. I'm with you. And the problem was he starts to get in the way when he plays in that position and that 10. He then gets in the way because Wiles had actually done a really good job when he came on of using a bit of space. There was a bit of space appearing down the right side. And the equaliser came because we finally worked out that if we bypassed the fullbacks and went direct to either Castledine or Cameron Asher, we got a bit of joy. Yeah. And then that's the other thing for me. When he drops in there, he gets in the way. I don't want him. I'm with you. Don't want him there. Get out.
Well, the centre back, they were man for man on centre backs all game, and as soon as Alfie May drops into midfield and played that, they had a spare man at the back.
Yeah,
and it just shifted. It made us look far less potent, didn't it, going forward? And it's on Alfie May. And to be fair, I wouldn't have expected that. I think that's quite surprising, isn't it? When Alfie May comes with the record that he has and the reputation he's got, and seeing him earlier on this season on fire, effectively, in a very small time period, expected more from it. It was just strange seeing him today overworking that midfield. And I do hope it's him playing that way, not an instruction from the side. Because if we've gone 4-2-3-1, just because we've got it back to 2-0 and Alfie May's suddenly back, and that's what the plan is going forward, I don't want to watch that football team.
We're screwed. If that's the plan, we might as well pack it in. We might as well write this.
Why does he feel he's got to do it? Well, that's the worry for me, is that why does he feel he's got to work 150% when there are other people in the team that he believes are not giving what they should be doing? So he's having to do Taylor's running for him or whatever. I don't understand why he feels that way, other than setting the example of buzzing around and being the great player that he's been. But like, somebody's got to sit him down and go, right, you're most effective, like as Gus said, when you're near that big tall crisp packet of a fella who can knock it down for you and you can put it back at net. But I want to know the answer to why he feels like he has to do it. There's something missing there for me.
Nice to see him get a goal though. After all that, and he's a classic May goal, really. He's right place, right time. He's poaching, isn't he, on the end of it, and it's really nice to see. And then you're thinking, we've still got a bit of time, haven't we? We We could maybe
We
go
can
on
still
and
do
nick
this.
this and 6 minutes added. And I don't think we got anywhere near, did we, in that? I thought Wimbledon managed it really well, those 6 minutes, to be fair. If anything, I was thinking, Christ, don't get another chance and make it and score late on. But, nah.
Well, I don't remember another after they scored the third. I don't remember another chance until apart from the goal. Can you remember another?
No.
After they scored the third.
I
I thought Wimbledon could try. I have to say about that, and although the stats will all say we battered Wimbledon and they've snatched the point, taken it away, I actually thought they were quite good on the day. I thought the defensive shape was really good. And if you're Johnny Jackson, you're probably really disappointed you've only come away with a point because you won't score 3 away from home that often, will you?
Yeah.
Off 4 shots, did they have? I think so. He'll be gutted in the same way as I'm sure Grant was gutted that you score 3 times at home and you don't win a game. So a point was probably a fair result in the end. I'm not sure the performances or any of the stats say that. Killer's going to disagree with me in a minute. But it was probably the right result in the end, the point.
It's a smash and grab. It's a professional away performance, and I can't ever remember saying a smash and grab at 3-3. It sounds ridiculous, but again, 3 chances. Well, 4 because he had a 3-on-3 early on in the game as well.
They did, yeah.
But he had 3 clear-cut chances, scored 3 goals, 2 of them down to errors for me. But Town had enough chances to win 4 games, I think, today. We've hit the bar, we hit the post. Well, there was another one at the post.
Yeah, Castle down at the post, yeah.
There was so many chances we had. We should have won that game. Even with all the mistakes that we've made, we should be sat here tonight talking about 4-3 win at least, right? I thought the chances we created were fine. It's just, this is what happened. Stoppage time was 3 throw-ins and that were it, wasn't it? Honestly, the amount of time they took to take the throw-ins down our touchline near the Riverside, it just nothing happened. It was like when you go on a night out and there's loads of lads and you're thinking, we're going to have a great night tonight. And then you go to the first pub, have a great time. It's really nice. And you go to the second one, great. And then your expectations for the rest of it's like really, really good. We're going to pull tonight. We're at the right time. And nothing happens. Everyone goes home. That's kind of how stoppage time went. We've equalised. We got back into it. And you're thinking, we've got 6 minutes.
Every night for me. Every
got 6 minutes. And realistically, we were back home in bed early, weren't we, at 90 minutes? Like, we didn't bother with stoppage time. Nothing happened. I can't actually remember much that happened in stoppage time, apart from Wimbledon getting a couple of corners at the end and me getting a little bit nervy at that point. The belief of a win did leave me at that point, to be totally honest, Nick. But no, Wimbledon put in a professional performance that shouldn't have been enough because we did create too much. I'm a bit against you there, guys. I don't think they deserved a point. I don't think they did enough. I think they gave us enough creativity or abilities to create chances to win that game. It's just we didn't, and we should have won that game. Even with the issues we had within it, I think there was more than enough there. And I think if we play that game again 9 times out of 10, we win it.
Yeah, but you don't deserve 3 points if you concede 3 goals at home, in my opinion. So that's why I think a point was probably fair. And if you're a Wimbledon fan, you're going home delighted, aren't you?
Yeah.
But and apparently, according to Grant in his post-match interview, we should be pleased with the fact we came from behind 3 times. So I'd be way more pleased if we don't let 3 fucking goals in the first place.
Character, guys. It's character, isn't it? It's all about character.
It is. You know, and they did, didn't they?
Yeah.
Fairness to them, they did. So,
but you're right. You can't, and it's the manner of the goals. I think if there were 3 worldies, everyone would be, you know what? We'll hold his hands up. It want to be. It was their day to get a result, and that's fine. But when it's goals like that, with absolutely terrible defending, you don't deserve to get. You know, I think we were lucky to get a point conceding goals like that, to be honest. So. But 3 goals, at least, attacking-wise, not too bad. Not too bad. And James Murgatroyd's put here, would another manager get better out of these players? And a lot of people saying, you know, still Grant out. A lot of people unconvinced. What's your guys' take on it quickly? Do you think that Grant's still the one to lead us out of this and get us up? Or do you still have your doubts?
I want to see more from him. I know I've been team Grant. I've been one of the Grantlings from early doors, but I think, like Gus said, he's been doing a hell of a lot of learning. We now need to see some changes. Yes, he did. It was his archetypal. I've got a strong team, and then I bring on subs and make the team even better when the opposition's tired. And like 2 of them scored today. That seems to be the game plan. I think we need to see some more with him. I felt initially, sort of going off the park, that he had connected with us. I tweeted out, I think he gets it. I think I've lost that connection with it at the minute, and I'm not sure why, other than that dip in form that we had. I think he needs to do more. We need to, whether he's not the guy who makes the big grand gestures on the touchline. Sometimes that's for show anyway, for me. Whether he's comfortable with the way that he's managing, I just think we need, as Ed said, and you've all said, we need to see something different in the game. Whether the move to 4-2-3-1 today was his, or whether it was Alfie May's or whoever's. I just think we need to. I just want a little bit more, and I don't feel like he's putting into practice what he's allegedly learning. So that's the worry for me. Would it be any? I'm still Team Grant, but I said today about 70 minutes when they scored their third goal, I said he can't survive this. If we'd have lost 8 league matches, I do not see how he could have survived. Now that doesn't mean to say that I think he should get sacked if we'd lost 8 league games, but there's no way that a team with the budget that we've got and the size of our club is able to lose 8 games and still remain in post. So that's what I think would have happened. So I think in many ways Alfie May saved his bacon today.
And a team that loses 8 or 10 league games don't get promoted in the top 2.
What I liken Grant to at the moment is like, do you know when you're getting a kind of guy come through? Dan Voss is probably a good example of this at the moment. He's come in and he's played a couple of games at first team. He's done nothing wrong. And you watch him, you think, it could be a player there. Yeah. But he's done nothing great either. There's nothing where you think, I mean, Brodie Spencer first came back, he looked great. Or Jack Hunt, when he broke through, he was incredible, wasn't he? Like, oh, there is 100% a player there. Lee Grant, for me, so far, is 10 years like Dan Voss. In that, I don't see anything that he's done just yet where I think he's a brilliant manager. He's a good manager. I've not seen that yet. I've not seen an issue like with Fotheringham where you could tell there were going to be issues behind the scenes. Yeah. Or Worthington where it just totally went off the boil for whatever reason. End of last season was awful. I've not seen that with Lee Grant, so I'm definitely not in that Lee Grant out camp. Would we get a better result from a different manager? Of course we would, because Lee Grant is very unlikely to be the best manager ever. So there's always going to be somebody better somewhere at some point, right? However, for me, there hasn't been a moment yet where I've seen him make a decision and I think, yeah, well done. That was a tactical genius move to do. I've not seen that yet. And now to be a manager for a couple of years, like Lee Clark was with us, where we did really well, but kind of just missed out. He never had that moment either. He never had a moment, Lee Clark, where he kind of just got it and got it right and outthought somebody. To be a manager in this division for 20, 30, 40 years, or in professional football for that long, you have to be able to do that. And now he's an inexperienced manager, and maybe it comes in time. I'm not necessarily sure it does. I think you have that as an instinct or you don't. And as of yet, I've not particularly seen it yet with Lee Grant. Maybe it will come in time. Because again, he's very, very raw with the support staff around him that are also quite new. So there's so many moving parts with Lee Grant that I look at and think, as long as we're not losing every game, as long as we're not so far outside the playoffs, he has to be the guy to see it through. Because last year we took a gamble getting rid of Duff. If Duff had stayed last year, the end of the season would have been better than it was. I think that's pretty safe to say. I don't think there'd be any arguments there. But we gambled that we could get rid of him, it'd get better. He didn't. It got worse and it fell apart because man management behind the scenes was not where it's at now. For whatever reason, I'm not just blaming John Worthington for that. We had contracts running out. There's all sorts of issues there. With Lee Grant at the moment, I'm still waiting for that moment where I think, do you know what? He gets it. He hasn't done that just yet. And every game, there's an opportunity to do it. There's an opportunity to do it today, I think. But again, we didn't really go for it in that way, but maybe it wasn't entirely necessary because we were controlling the game regardless of the score. For Luton, it wasn't quite there, was it? And I think Cardiff's going to be a huge test for this because I do think to get something down in Cardiff is going to be something that's going to have to come from him. I think the manager has to pull something out next week and not just swapping light for light players. It needs a little bit more than that.
I think Grant will survive for now. I think you're right. My guess is Kev learned from last year that waiting until April and getting rid of somebody is absolutely pointless. So if he's going to pull the trigger on Grant before the end of the season, it'll be at Christmas, January time. I think if we aren't firmly in the top 6 by Christmas, I think that could be enough for Kev to pull the trigger. He's obviously brought in I know I was taking the piss before, but he's brought in a sporting director now, which I guess Kev will see as if we have to dispense of Mr. Grant services, we're not totally exposed. You haven't got DTS and Edwards running the first team, have you? So that I guess that you can either view that, Lee Grant can view that as a positive or a negative. They brought in support. He may feel he doesn't need support, but he's getting some, whether he wants it or not, he's getting some, innit? I go back to what I said before. You know, you look at our squad, and I know we've got a lot of injuries, but that squad's enough to be in the top 2, 3, 4 of this league, and it's not even close. Fortunately, the league is so bad, and everybody's beating everybody else. We're completely in touch and still in control of our own destiny. We've got it's in our hands to be able to go on and win promotion should we want to. My worry is that you know, I'm with you. I just don't see enough for. And I actually, although we take the piss out of him, I actually think he's a really genuine bloke, and I think he comes across actually really well.
Yeah,
I wish he'd just fucking take that broom handle. He just needs to lighten up a bit.
I think what it is, what it is for me, guys, is that the team's playing as a team is, and from your manager, you want them to give the team something more. You want them to bring in processes, bring in styles of football, bring in set pieces where you add up all the players' abilities, but your manager makes it greater.
Yeah.
And with Lee Grant at the moment, I don't see that. I just see the players playing as well as they should do for the abilities that they have. Because even in League One, if you spend extra money on players, you still need to have something better than everybody else because it is so competitive. And I don't feel that edge is there.
But that might be what they brought Markham in for.
Maybe.
Is that, you know, we're no experts, but we know we've got no width, we've got no pace, and we need a big number 9. You know, my mate Bojan, at least he's doing a little bit of that at the moment. He's winning an idea. He's getting stuck in. But with respect to him, that's not a worry. That's not really. He's not a big number 9, is he? So, you know, maybe that's the recognition that we need to try and give Grant the opportunity to play different ways. You know, I think they signed a lot of players, and if Grant's name is all over those players, then he has to take some of the blame that they're too samey, they're too injury prone, they can't play out of anything other than 4-2-3-1. That's on him, right? But I think that's what'll happen. I think there'll be more money spent in January, would be my guess. And unless we're a million miles away from the playoffs, he'll be the man that takes us through. I just can't see a scenario where we get beyond January and he doesn't make it to the end of the season.
Yeah, some of the signings have been discussing earlier. According to reports, Marcus McGuane, highest paid player at Town, and he's played 45 minutes of football this season. If that, it's absolutely criminal. Let's talk about him then. What do you think, guys? By the way, I'm seeing quite a lot on social media. Grant out, but do you guys think maybe he deserves time to work with this, or do you think, particularly Markham coming in, you know, it could be paving the way for maybe a decision on that front, and maybe it's time to let him go? Let us know your thoughts. But yeah, we've got a new sporting director. Chris Markham's joined us. Now, he's no stranger to Town, is he? We worked at Town as an analyst for years. Went to the FA, worked at Bolton. What do you guys reckon? Is he the man for the job? I mean, we're obviously going to get behind him 100%. He's following in the footsteps of Mr. Cartwright, so you know, big shoes to fill, Gaz.
I bet he'll be comfy where he left a big dent on it.
Tell you what, Matt Shaw.
That's the first time I've seen Ian Kilroy go, oh, I can't believe he just said that.
If we're ever going to delete it, it's tonight,
Time to get
boys. Cheers, guys. Well, we
don't mean it.
Do you
I
guys?
sit in JJ 57.
There's pressure on Matt Shaw here. He's run a personal campaign to get Chris Markham in. So again, anybody listening, anything goes untoward, Chris Markham's appointment doesn't work out, Matt Shaw's where to lay the blame. If you need a mobile number or email address, I can handle that, no problem for you. Look, it was strange going into the season without a director of football. It was really, really strange. Lee Grant was given the keys to the castle. Very rare, very, very rare for any manager in a club, never mind a new manager, never mind a new manager at a club that's spending money like we did this summer. It's a bit of a golden goose position, isn't it, really? I don't think it happens very much. I still think Kev coming in pretty quick a couple of weeks ago and unannounced somewhat is to show, or kind of shows, that the club isn't exactly where he wants it to be at the moment. He spoke about it in that sepia video where it was very somber. And I think this is to, like you say, bring in a new level of football, continuity. Yeah. If anything happens with the manager, it's a long day. If anything happens with Lee Grant, because otherwise, like you say, he said was the last man in the building there at that point on the football side of it. So I think it should have been in months ago. For whatever reason, it wasn't. I'm still not entirely sure why it wasn't. But it's a good thing. Whether he's the right man for it, we'll find out in time. You know, he does know the club, though. He's from around here. And to be totally honest, I think that's often overplayed. But when you look from the outside in, there's a lot of people in senior positions at Town that has nothing to do with Huddersfield Town, or historically hasn't. They don't understand the area. They don't understand how miserable we all are, and how we like to spend Saturday nights in garages instead of going out. Nice time of spending money. Yeah. We don't do that. We're sad bastards, right? And that's fine. But he'll get that we're sad bastards, and that does matter though when you sign in players. When you talk about Northern football, initially, some people in here got really excited and bought a T-shirt about it, didn't we, boys?
Yeah.
Because it resonated really well though. Unfortunately, when it came to signing players, they weren't the same people who came up with that idea in regards to the type of players we bring in to do it. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes. I think it's a bit of a no-brainer. I just think it should have been done sooner. I don't know why it took so long.
I agree.
Because the problem you have now is we've got January coming up pretty soon. It's all right saying he'll have a list of transfers before coming in. He shouldn't have. He should know some guys that could be good, but you should be here looking at what we've got and what we've not got first before deciding who you need to actually bring in January. So I'm not expecting this January to be too much on what Markham has prior to joining the club. He's going to be quite a quick turnaround. We do need a big guy up top, another option. We do need another centre-back that can play the ball out. But will that be done in January or not? I don't know. I do hope it is. I think it's going to be quite a stretch. And if it had been in here in August, maybe it would have been better set for it. But the realisation of that's come a bit late.
I'll tell you, you're just saying that about signings. I just something that come to me really was hopefully now with a sporting director or whatever he is, actually he might be able to find a home for some of the duds as well, because I think that we didn't do that well enough in the summer for me. We needed to move some of those earners on, some of those that are probably hardly ever going to kick a ball for us again. If we are going to bring in another 3, 4, 5, we have to get 2, 3, 4 off the wage bill, and we didn't do a good enough job of that in the summer, in my opinion.
I do wonder if sporting director means we're going into gaming and all that kind of stuff. Why is it sporting director and not director of football?
Well, because he said he was going to look at the women's team and the academy, though, isn't he? So I guess
still football.
It's all connected.
I just found it very strange. But European clubs have different angles. They have netball clubs, don't they? And all sorts of strange things. I just wondered with an American owner if that's something that
might be a title.
Well, I think it's a title, because the big thing for me is the relationship between Markham and Grant, because as you said, Grant's been given the keys to the castle. So how is he going to view somebody else coming in a position? We don't know whether is he Grant's boss? Is he working alongside him? Because he's been really clear as Grant already that the 3 lads that he brought in are better than him at the stuff that they do. So is this another one that's going to be working with him as a smaller group within a big group? I don't know what you call a grouplet or whatever you call that. I don't know. I don't know what the word is. But that is the big thing for me. How's Grant going to see it? Because if he throws his toys out and doesn't like the input of he's got a big background, doesn't he? There's 7 years for the FA, working at Bolton as well. He did successful there until sort of the bitter end. That's the key thing for me. What's he been brought in to do? And is it because the sporting director thing is a bigger title, so it doesn't threaten Grant?
Well, I'll tell you what, it'd be worth a question asking if somebody could ask him, is he an exec director? Does he sit on the football club board? Because if he sits on the board alongside Edwards and the finance dude and the marketing dude, then he has sway 100%. If he's a director in name and not an exec director, my guess is Andy. He's not. He's going to be on a par with Grant, slightly above him maybe. But if he's an exec director sat on the board making important decisions with, in the running of the football club, he's absolutely in control, isn't he? So
it also ensures when Grant does leave, whenever that is, hopefully it's a long time from now, you've got different people appointing him. Now we've had the same people appointing the manager for the last few times, and it's not worked. Kevin's in. You've got to be an intelligent man to be in the financial position Kevin's in. Guys, you're not quite there, are you yet? So
working on it.
But you've not got the same people appointing the manager. So whatever happens, it's a change. It's a big change that'll affect how this club goes forward.
We've already got a Markham outpost.
Nice. Let's bring that up there. I was just going to say that, and that leads in nicely, because I'm already seeing, even before the poor sod was appointed,
is that a Bolton fan?
People were already saying, he's not got a good reputation. As a Bolton fan say, he was terrible. He can't do this. He signs Crocs. He signs it. Bloke hadn't even set foot in the door, and we've already written him off. Let's just give him at least chance to do his job before we write the poor sod off. I think this is a problem. We lay into folk from the off sometimes, and I don't get it. Just give him a chance and see what he does, and then we can slate him if it don't work out. But hopefully it will work out. And we need. I think it was needed. It's nice to have that bit of football knowledge in there, in and amongst the group, or whatever we're calling it. Right. So finally, let's move on to the upcoming games then. Lincoln. No one cares really, do we? But
I do.
Chance to. Well, it's our last chance maybe for a bit of silverware apart from the league title.
You managed to say that with a straight face as well. I'm very impressed.
there's going to be changes for this, surely.
He said that on.
I mean, there aren't
radio
many
release
players
tonight.
available, so I don't know how many changes he can actually make. But
Freshen up is the way that he's put
yeah.
it on radio release tonight.
Yeah. Any thoughts on this? I mean, we want to progress, don't we? But not easy away at Lincoln. They're a decent side, aren't they?
You're going to get Rowan and Wallace will be back in at centre half or left half. I'm not sure who'll play left back in that situation. I think Sorensen will come back in. It'll be an ex-Lincoln team, and then you're going to get your Voss, your Ashes. Whether Alfie May gets another go to get himself really back in the groove or not, but I think he'll rest Charles and Radulovic. Who is available?
Taylor will come in.
Taylor will come in.
Taylor and May will start up.
Taylor and May, yeah. That's not a bad start.
When everyone says
hell.
they're not interested in competition, right? You're not. But if you went to Wembley, we'd all be there.
Yeah.
We'd all totally be there. Have a great day. We've never won it before. There's not many things we haven't won in English football.
Hotel, mate, ready.
Have you ready to go?
Yeah, absolutely.
Lincoln are a good side though. They're a decent side.
Yeah,
It's going to be a
Yeah,
tough
they've been
game
top of the league,
because
haven't they, so?
again, I think as soon as you get out the group stages, it's not just putting your dross. You have a bit of a go at it, and I'll be interested to see who we go with. I think we'll be able to learn from who starts Tuesday, who won't be starting against Cardiff. The keeper's the issue, and Alfie May. I think Alfie May plays Tuesday, and if he bags, he'll be playing Saturday. I think it's a big one for Alfie May. And again, if he's had the worst 5 weeks of his life, being suspended for 3 games, he'll be itching to get onto that field on Tuesday night. And I'm looking forward to seeing him. I miss him. I think we're such a different team when he's in the team. He shows a leadership on it. I think most of us want them all to show. Yeah. And he doesn't. He looks like he cares. And he's only been here a few months.
He does, yeah.
It's quite an incredible thing, isn't it? So no, he'll play it. But I think the keeper one's the one to watch on Tuesday.
Yeah. And then the big one in Cardiff.
Mm.
It's not the team you want to play when you want to go and get a result after the draw today. But look, it could be one of them where we go and surprise them. But I mean, for me personally, I think we'll get battered.
Get Warnock back in. Get Rocket Ron back in. Get Joe Ungbo and all them lads back in. Just relive the spirit of 2 or 3 years ago, that 2-1. You never know. We never expected to do it that day, did we? So, I don't know. I can't see anything other than a defeat, unfortunately. But
they'll have a go at us, though, and I think that does play into our hands
yeah,
somewhat, in that we'll have space to counter-attack against. I'm happy it's a 12:30 fixture, so I don't have to go. It's an awful trip down there, isn't it? Like, they've saved us that. I know everyone's against modern football, but Sky Sports chucking that on 12:30 for his banging. Cheers,
Done us a favour.
Thank you.
Done us a favour.
Cheers to that, lads, top group. But the thing, if you can get through it with something positive, the fixtures after are quite good. Yeah. We're suddenly going into a run of fixtures that are a little bit easier. We've got Northampton away that we generally seem to do all right.
Got me tickets for Northampton away, lads.
Sad bastard.
Proper fan, me, Andy.
Your best football Huddersfield Town supporter, well, not me.
Thanks, Andy.
Then we're gonna home.
Tuesday night.
We're gonna home at lunchtime again. Then you've got Rotherham away, and of course Rotherham's. They were top
I
of the
love
form
Rotherham
table
away. I love
this
Rotherham
weekend.
away.
Port Vale, Northampton again. So you're getting a few games there where if you've got your shit together, you can get a few points, and this division will open up. It won't stay as tight as it has done, where there's like 4 or 5 points covering 15, 16 teams. That won't happen. It's impossible as the season goes on. Now's the time to put them together, because all of a sudden after Christmas, that's when people are kind of set in stone. And now's the time we have to do it. So Cardiff, for me, is funnily enough the least important of the next 6 games. It's just, it won't be that for all town fans. And the atmosphere against Wigan afterwards on lunchtime will be awful if we lose to Cardiff, because then we've lost 2 we've failed to win against Wimbledon. We lost against Luton. Form guys looking terrible. We've got 3 games without a win at that point. So I think a draw against Cardiff would be okay. I think we'd be able to then go into the Wigan game without. If we're booing today at half time, it just puts pressure on that Wigan game. But the fixtures after it are pretty straightforward, and gives us a good opportunity now to actually crack on. Because for me, we've got past that point now where we've got time to crack on. It has to be now. We have to start a good run of form right now. There isn't ages after it. If you're not great by Christmas, like you say, season's not done, but it's tough work to get back into it. And Cardiff will be an interesting one. I think we'll get something from it, though. I think we'll be okay down there.
We'll get something.
Spanking.
Our arse is handed to us on a plate, is what I
you're a bit more confident than me.
But they don't look great. Watching Cardiff play, they don't look fantastic. They play pretty kind of dominant.
They're Luton-esque. They're probably a bit better footballing than Luton, but they're Luton-esque. out there. They played Mansfield today at home. I was just looking, they won 3-0. Mansfield will have gone and Nigel will have tried to play football against them, and they got their ass handed to them, as you say, and they got their ass handed on the plate. And I think that's going to be the risk, really, is if we can we need to be stand up. We need to be able to stand up and be counted, because I think if you go one down quickly, it's going to be a bloody long afternoon down there. So I can't see us getting anything from there. What I want from there, to be honest, is an okay performance, because I think you can take that into the Mansfield game at home and go on from there. So I think we'll probably lose, but I'm hoping for a decent showing.
3-0 Cardiff. Sorry. I just think they'll batter us. But you're right, Ian. After that, there's a reasonable run. I'm not sure on Rotherham. They're a decent side in good form.
We've been up there since Boxing. What was it? Not Boxing Day. Valentine's Day.
What a day that was. What a day that was.
But ages, so.
I mean, we all Northampton one. I mean, they absolutely pummeled us, Northampton, last season at their place.
Twice they did us.
Kevin Nolan did us good style. So we proper owe Northampton one, and they're not great. They're not in great form. So, like you say, Wigan, Northampton, Vale. These are teams you would hope we're going to put a string of results against. But if you lose, you're going into the back of it on 2 losses, aren't you? As you say. So
we could get Darren Moore, couldn't we? Port Vale on Boxing.
That'd be ace, wouldn't
it? Happy Boxing Day. I'm just having a look at the comments, guys, on X. We've talked about pretty much everything that's been brought up on there. So I think we'll call it there, guys. We've done a lot there, but it's been nice. It's been nice doing it like this, hasn't it?
Yes.
Centenary. Yeah.
If you're welcome.
Oat milk coffee. It was spot on.
Yeah,
We've been well looked after. We've been well hosted by Ian. He's took care of us.
He's yet to break out the free vegan ice cream, though.
No, we've not seen that yet, but maybe that'll
£3.90 the retail at, so I ain't giving them away for free.
How much?
And you've got
this
the
garage will pay for itself, boys.
But you're the catching Kev up at this rate, mate, not me.
No, listen, guys. Thank you so much for listening. All your comments and questions. It's been brilliant to see so many of you getting involved. And we'll do another episode after Cardiff. And God, I just hope we get something, because for all our sakes, otherwise we're going to be sliding down. We're going to be looking over our shoulder at relegation before long.
Don't go there, Nick. Don't go there.
But anyway, on that happy note, Ian, guys, thank you so much, and thank you, guys. We'll see you soon. And as always, up the town. Hey.
There's a team that is dear to its followers. The colours are bright blue and white. They're a team of renown, they're the pride of the town, and the game of football is their delight. And all the while upon the field of play, thousands loudly cheer them on the way. Often you can hear them say, who can beat the town today? And then the bells will ring so merrily, and every goal shall be a memory. So town, play up and bring that cup back to Huddersfield. So town, play up and bring the cup back to Huddersfield.